Hi, my name is Sam Christensen, and this is the effectiveness of social stories with adolescents with autism spectrum disorder. My hypothesis was the implementation of social stories would reduce the number of negative social interactions while also increasing the number of positive ones. For the background literature, I have what is autism spectrum disorder. Autism spectrum disorder is having problems with social communication, having limited and repetitive behavior, and developing a delay in language development, while not looking or listening to peers or instructors and not being able to share the enjoyment of objects or activities very often. So here I have the background literature continued and what are social stories and why are they used and what makes interaction positive or negative. Social stories are stories that explain cues and appropriate responses to significant situations in a social context. These stories are short, are written for an individual, and describe a specific activity as well as the behavioral expectations associated with the activity. They have been considered to be a useful tool to use by teachers and families in order to assist children in developing necessary social skills. Positive interactions are cooperative relationships between people that result in better growth for at least one person involved in interaction without negatively affecting the other person. Negative interactions are an exchange that result in hurt, distress, sadness, isolation, rejection, and unpleasantness to another person or people. My participant in the study was an 8-year-old male that was diagnosed with ASD and struggled with social interactions and anxiety, among other things, and attend school for children with neurodevelopmental issues. The variables in the intervention were the social story that I read to him and the frequency of positive and negative interactions. Materials were the consent form, the social story, and the recording sheet used. Here's the social story that was made specifically for the participants and with a reward system using superhero capes. This is the recording sheet used by myself and the teachers in the classroom to record his positive and negative interactions and rate the negative interactions on a scale of 1 to 3, 1 being minor, 3 being the most severe. For the procedure, we have the pre-intervention, and the participants' positive and negative interactions were recorded before social stories were implemented. And then for the intervention, or B, social stories were read to the participant towards the beginning of the day and interactions recorded throughout the day. For the revised intervention, or BC, social stories were revised and designed to be more individualized for the participant, negative and positive interactions recorded. This is the results of the study. The positive and negative social interactions of the participant. The blue is the positive, the orange is the negative. There is space between period A, B, and period B, C. As you can see, there appears to be no real pattern within the data. Towards the end with period BC, there appears to be a starting decrease in the negative interactions. This is the rating of negative social interactions on a scale of 1 to 3. As you can see again, there's period A, period B, and period BC. And this shows the 3 types of negative interactions that the students could have. 1 being a minor interaction that is unpleasant for one or more parties. 2 being an interaction that causes some distress or unpleasantness, which requires redirection from supervisors. Or 3, an interaction in which the student becomes violent and the situation escalates to the point that the student needs to leave the present environment. Here's for the discussion. Strengths of the study, the social stories were not interruptive to the environment or the participant, and they're very cheap and easily accessible. My hypothesis was not supported as the participants' positive interactions did not go up and the negative interactions did not go down, or the frequency. The limitations of the study, the frequency of intervention, I only went to the school 3 times a week compared to the students did 5, so I was not able to see the student every day he was there. And the participant's environment changes regularly, whether that's his home life, school life, or anything else in between. For future directions, I would use the intervention in the entire class and not just the participant. In that way, he doesn't feel isolated from the rest of his peers. I would also record with which classmates cause the most positive or negative interactions. And these are my references. And thank you for coming to my presentation.